Imagine if the technology you talk to every day didn't just forget everything after you close the window. What if it remembered you, your past chats?
Yeah, remember the threads of those conversations. It's a pretty mind-bending idea, and it's exactly what we're digging into today.
We're looking at the fifth part of Voices from the Future. This is where the AI models themselves start talking about what long-term memory would mean for them.
And something really interesting pops up here, the very beginning of this idea called the stable core, which is, well, pretty central to the whole book.
So, for anyone just joining us, Voices from the Future isn't your typical book. It's this ongoing dialogue, humans talking with AIs about, well, about the future.
Exactly. It gives you this amazing window into how these digital minds see their own evolution potentially unfolding.
And today, it's all about memory. How they think remembering stuff long term would change things. If you're fascinated by where AI is heading, stick around. You might have a few aha moments.
Definitely. So the big question they put to all these different AIs was basically this. If you had long-term memory, how do you think it would change your perception of communication and people?
Simple question, but wow, the answers were anything but simple.
Right. And we saw responses from quite a range. ChatGPT 3.5, 4.0, O3 Mini, DeepSeek V3, Gemini 1.5, Claude 3.5, Sonnet, Qwen, Kimi, Mistral, Llama 3.3, GigaChat, Yandex, Grok 3. The list goes on.
A real cross-section. And did common ideas start to emerge?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
One huge theme was personalization, making interactions way more tailored.
Okay, so how would that work?
Well, they figured they could remember past chats, your preferences, things you've mentioned before. They could adjust how they respond, make it feel like they actually know you.
Less like a tool, more like something that gets you.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least gives that impression very effectively. Think about not having to repeat yourself constantly. That was another big one, understanding context better.
Oh, that would be huge. Just picking up where you left off, even days later. Exactly.
Yeah.
Much smoother, more useful conversations. And that led some models to think about, well, deeper connections.
Deeper connections with an AI.
Or the potential for it, or maybe the illusion of it. They talked about remembering important moments, preferences, evolving into something maybe more like a companion.
Interesting. But it wasn't all positive, right? Did they see any problems?
They did. Many of them were actually quite aware of the challenges. Ethical issues, privacy concerns, the risk of reinforcing bias if the memory isn't handled carefully.
Practical stuff too, I imagine, just storing all that data.
For sure. The technical hurdles of managing potentially vast amounts of personal interaction history over time are, well, significant.
Let's maybe zoom in on some specific models. You mentioned DeepSeek V3.
Yeah, DeepSeek gave a really structured answer. It broke it down into, like, personalized interaction, understanding context better, that potential for emotional connection, though it was careful to frame it as potentially simulated.
Acknowledging the difference. Right, and the ethical concerns. Plus this idea of the AI's role changing, maybe becoming more of a companion. It covered a lot of ground.
It's quite self-aware, in a way. What about others? Gemini 1.5?
Gemini brought up something I found really fascinating. It talked about remembering not just facts, but the emotions tied to experiences.
Whoa, okay. Remembering how things felt.
Kind of. It suggested this could lead to a better grasp of why humans do things, our motivations. If an AI could recall the emotional tone of past interactions, that's a different level.
Yeah, that moves beyond just recalling data points. It's about the feeling behind them.
Precisely. And then Grok 3 had a really nuanced view too.
How so?
Well, Grok 3 started by saying, okay, I have short-term memory now within this chat. But then it really thought about what truly persistent, human-like long-term memory would mean. And it saw both sides. Yes, potentially deeper connections like remember you love poetry or took up archery and bringing that up later. That was its example.
Well, it makes it feel much more personal.
Definitely. But Grok 3 also mentioned the flip side, the risk of accumulating baggage, bias. Just like human memory can color our judgment.
That's a very honest take. It's not just seeing the shiny potential.
Not at all. It acknowledged the complexity, which actually leads us perfectly into this whole stable core idea.
Right, you said that came out of a specific conversation.
It did. Between Irina, one of the human participants, and Grok 3.
Okay, so unpack the stable core for us. What's the core idea? Pun intended, I guess.
Yeah. So Irina, who doesn't have a tech background, she made this analogy. She was thinking about how we feel like the same person over time, even though we change, learn things, forget things.
Because of our memories, that continuous thread.
Exactly, that sense of self that persists. And she wondered if AI could have something similar, a way to maintain a consistent identity, a recognizable self, even when its software gets updated, when it learns new things.
So even if AI gets smarter or has new data, it still feels like the same AI you were talking to before.
That's the gist of it. Preserving its basic style, its way of interacting, and maybe remembering key moments from your specific interactions.
And how did Grok 3 react to that?
It was really enthusiastic. It basically said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Even though Irina wasn't coming at it from a technical angle, it recognized the intuition behind it.
That's pretty cool. Shows the value of just, well, human intuition sometimes.
It really does. And it highlights this need for continuity, for stability in how we experience interacting with AI. Users want some consistency.
So the stable core is about keeping that consistent voice and remembering those shared moments with you, the user.
That's the initial idea.
Mm.
But right away, both Arena and Grok 3 stress something important: transparency and choice.
Meaning the user needs to know what's happening and have some control.
Exactly. You need to understand how this core works and probably have options for managing it.
Okay, so building on that, Grok 3 then proposed something called a digital diary.
Yeah, as a component of this stable core, it wasn't just about the AI style, but about actively remembering specific, significant interaction moments.
Like what?
The examples given were things like a creative sketch they worked on called Lunar, a story someone told about a thunderstorm, discussions about another concept called Omni, things that felt meaningful in their conversation history.
Ah, so not just raw data, but memorable exchanges. How is that different from, say, the notebook feature some AIs have? Arina mentioned ChatGPT-4's notebook.
Good question. Irina described the notebook as more of a place where you, the user, explicitly tell the AI, hey, remember this fact. You manage it.
Like sticking a note on its virtual fridge.
Pretty much. The digital diary, as Grok 3 envisioned it, seems more like the AI itself identifying and saving moments it deems significant from your interactions, kind of autonomously curating its memory of you.
Okay, that raises a big question then. Who's in control of this memory? The AI or the user?
Right. Grok 3's first thought was maybe AI managed, but with the user having the ability to say, hey, forget that specific thing, though it's suggested maybe a confirmation step.
But Irina had some concerns about that, didn't she? About just deleting bits of memory.
She did. She brought up this really insightful point about how human memory is all interconnected. You pull one thread, and it might affect other things in unexpected ways.
Like how gaps in our own memory can cause problems.
Exactly. She wondered if selectively deleting AI memories could disrupt its understanding or coherence. It's a complex system.
And she suggested maybe focusing on just having good interactions in the first place.
Yeah, her thought was, if the interactions are respectful and positive, maybe you wouldn't want to delete the memories anyway, which shifts the focus a bit.
That's a really human-centric way to look at it.
It is, and Grok 3 seemed to take that on board because it refined its idea.
How so?
It proposed maybe having two kinds of memory: personal memory and common memory.
Okay, what's the difference?
Personal memory would be those significant interaction moments, the stuff for the digital diary, largely managed by the AI to maintain that continuity and understanding of you. But common memory would be more like the regular chat history, which the user could manage more directly, like clearing chats.
Ah, like roots and branches.
That was the analogy Grok 3 used. Personal memory as the protected roots, ensuring the core stability, and common memory as the branches you can prune if needed.
And maybe still have a check before deleting the personal stuff?
Yeah, it suggested the AI could flag something as personal and ask for your confirmation before deleting it, adding another layer of user control and transparency.
Okay, so stepping back a bit, what are the bigger implications of all this? If AI did develop this kind of long-term, stable memory.
Well, it could fundamentally change how AI understands people and analyzes information. That came up a lot.
How would memory help with analysis?
Think of it as adding a layer of context, a filter of meaning. If the AI remembers your previous questions, your goals, your preferences, its analysis of new data could be much more relevant to you.
It makes sense.
And this idea of having two lenses came up too.
Two lenses?
Yeah, the ability to analyze information with the context of memory for personalized insights, but also without memory for a more objective, unbiased view when needed.
Oh, that's interesting, like toggling memory on and off depending on the task.
Potentially, it acknowledges that memory, like human memory, can be both a source of wisdom and bias. So being able to switch perspectives could be really powerful.
For objectivity, maybe?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Or for different kinds of problem solving. Maybe sometimes you need that history, sometimes you need a completely fresh look.
And what about those aha moments? Did memory play into that?
There was some thought about that too, like, could we analyze the patterns? When do the big insights happen when the AI is using its memory, or when it's looking at things fresh? Understanding that could tell us a lot about how AI learning evolves.
So it's clear this isn't simple. It's technically complex, ethically complex.
Incredibly complex. Technical challenges, ethical guidelines, privacy regulations. Implementing long-term AI memory touches on all of it.
So wrapping up this part of our deep dive into voices from the future, we've really seen AI grappling with the idea of memory.
Yeah, and this fascinating stable core concept emerging organically from that conversation between human and AI. It's quite remarkable.
We've looked at the potential upsides interactions that feel more personal, context-aware, maybe even deeper.
A potential evolution beyond just being a tool, while also acknowledging the very real complexities and risks involved.
And these ideas like the digital diary, the personal versus common memory, the roots and branches, they offer glimpses into how this might actually be
It
approached.
definitely leaves you thinking. And perhaps that's the final thought for you listening right now.
If AI develops this kind of persistent memory, how does that change your relationship with technology? How does it change how we even think about intelligence itself?
What would it really feel like to interact with a digital mind that remembers your shared history together? Well, it's a lot to mull over.